The crash landing. The night sky over the dense forests of Northern California erupted in a brilliant flash of blue-white light. A streaking fireball tore through the atmosphere, leaving a trail of smoke and debris in its wake. The object, clearly not a meteor, hurtled towards the Earth at an alarming speed, its trajectory erratic and unstable. Deep in a military command center buried beneath the Rocky Mountains, alarms blared as sensors picked up the anomaly. Colonel Sarah Hawkins leaned over a glowing holographic display, her face illuminated by the pulsing red warning indicators. "What do we have?" she barked, her voice cutting through the chaos of the room. A young lieutenant swiveled in his chair, fingers flying over his keyboard. "Unknown object, ma'am. Definitely not one of ours, and it doesn't match any known civilian craft." Hawkins' eyes narrowed. "Alien." The lieutenant nodded grimly. "It's a strong possibility, given the current situation. For the past 6 months, Earth had been locked in a tense standoff with an alien coalition known as the Galactic Concordat. First contact had gone poorly, with misunderstandings and aggressive posturing on both sides leading to a series of skirmishes in the outer solar system. Now, with diplomacy at a standstill, the planet was on high alert for any sign of impending invasion. "Track its landing zone and dispatch a recon team immediately," Hawkins ordered. "I want eyes on whatever this is before anyone else gets there." As the command center sprang into action, the object continued its fiery descent. It skimmed the tops of ancient redwoods, shearing off branches and igniting small fires in its wake. Finally, with a deafening roar and a plume of dirt and smoke, it slammed into a small clearing. For a moment, all was still. Then, with a hiss of escaping gases, a hatch on the battered craft slid open. A figure stumbled out, disoriented and clearly injured. In the dim light of the smoldering wreckage, its form was difficult to discern. It moved on 4 legs, its body low to the ground, but there was something decidedly unnatural about its movements. As it limped away from the crash site, moonlight glinted off metallic implants embedded in its flesh. This was no ordinary animal. This was Crix, a bioengineered soldier of the Galactic Concordat, designed for combat and espionage. But now, separated from its fleet and stranded on hostile territory, Crix was little more than a lost and wounded creature. The alien canine's enhanced senses picked up the distant sound of approaching vehicles. Humans were coming. With a low whine of pain and fear, Crix limped into the underbrush, seeking shelter and safety. Miles away, a convoy of military vehicles sped through the night, their headlights cutting through the darkness. In the lead Humvee, Sergeant Jake Martinez gripped the steering wheel tightly, his mind racing with possibilities. "What do you think it is, Sarge?" asked Private Chen from the passenger seat, her voice tight with nervous excitement. Martinez shook his head. "Could be anything. Drone, satellite, or he left the last option unspoken, but they all knew what he meant. Alien." In the back seat, Corporal Reese checked his rifle for the 3rd time. "Whatever it is, I hope it's not looking for a fight." As they neared the coordinates of the crash site, Martinez killed the headlights and switched to night vision. The eerie green glow revealed a path of destruction leading deeper into the forest. "Looks like it came down just ahead," Martin said, bringing the vehicle to a stop. "Chen, Reese, you're with me. The rest of you secure the perimeter. And remember, we're here to observe and report. Do not engage unless absolutely necessary." The 3 soldiers moved silently through the underbrush, their training taking over as they approached the crash site. The acrid smell of burnt metal and some unknown, alien substance filled the air. As they entered the clearing, the full extent of the crash became apparent. The craft, no larger than a small car, was embedded in the soft earth. Its sleek design was unlike anything they had ever seen, with no visible propulsion system or windows. "Definitely not one of ours," Chen whispered, her eyes wide as she took in the scene. Martinez approached cautiously, his rifle at the ready. "Check for any signs of survivors, but be careful. We don't know what we're dealing with here." As they searched the area, Reese noticed something odd in the soft dirt near the craft. "Sarge, you might want to take a look at this." Martinez crouched down, examining the strange tracks leading away from the crash site. They resembled paw prints, but larger and with an unusual gait. What the hell made these? Before anyone could respond, a twig snapped in the darkness beyond the clearing. All three soldiers whirled around, weapons raised. "Who's there?" Martinez called out. "Show yourself." For a moment, there was only silence. Then, from the shadows, a pair of glowing eyes appeared. They were unlike any animal eyes the soldiers had ever seen, with an intelligence and fear that seemed almost human. Slowly, the creature emerged into the moonlight. It stood about waist-high, with a body resembling a large dog or wolf. But that's where the similarities to any Earth animal ended. Its midnight blue fur was interspersed with metallic plates and glowing circuitry. One of its legs appeared damaged, sparks occasionally arcing between exposed wires. The alien creature regarded them warily, its posture a mixture of defensiveness and exhaustion. Despite its obvious nature as a bioengineered weapon, there was something undeniably vulnerable about it in that moment. Private Chen lowered her weapon slightly. "Sarge, I think it's hurt." Martinez kept his rifle trained on the creature, years of training warring with the unexpected surge of empathy he felt. "Stay back, Chen. We don't know what it's capable of." The standoff continued for several tense heartbeats. The alien canine's eyes darted between the three soldiers, assessing, calculating. In its mind, combat protocols and threat assessments ran alongside more primal instincts of fear and self-preservation. Suddenly, the creature's injured leg gave out, and it collapsed with a pained whimper. The sound was so surprisingly dog-like that all three soldiers flinched. Chen started forward instinctively, her medic's training kicking in. "We can't just leave it like this." "Stand down, Private," Martinez ordered, but his voice lacked conviction. He found himself torn between duty and compassion, the lines between enemy and victim blurring before his eyes. As they grappled with their next move, none of them noticed the blinking distress beacon on the crashed ship, sending out a signal that would soon bring both human and alien forces converging on their location. The night's events had set in motion a chain of events that would challenge not only their training but their very understanding of life in the universe. In that moment, with the fate of an alien creature hanging in the balance, the true test of humanity's capacity for compassion in the face of the unknown was about to begin. First contact. The tense standoff in the moonlit clearing stretched on, the air thick with uncertainty. Sergeant Martinez's mind raced, weighing protocol against the unprecedented situation before him. The alien canine lay prone, its labored breathing punctuated by occasional whimpers of pain. Private Chen took another tentative step forward. "Sarge, please. We can't just." "Hold your position, Chen," Martinez snapped, but his resolve was wavering. He'd been trained to deal with enemy combatants, not injured alien animals that looked at him with eyes far too intelligent for comfort. Corporal Reese kept his rifle trained on the creature, but doubt crept into his voice. "What are your orders, sir?" Martinez took a deep breath, years of military discipline battling against his instincts. Finally, he made a decision that would alter the course of human-alien relations forever. "Lower your weapons," he said quietly. "Chen, see what you can do for it. Reese, keep watch. If this thing so much as twitches wrong, you take it out." "Understood." Both soldiers nodded, a mixture of relief and apprehension on their faces. Chen approached the alien slowly, her hands raised in what she hoped was a universal gesture of peace. "Hey there," she said softly, her voice gentle despite her racing heart. "We're not going to hurt you. We want to help." The creature's eyes locked onto Chen, a flicker of comprehension passing through them. It made no move to attack, instead letting out a low whine that sounded almost like a question. As Chen knelt beside the alien, she marveled at its bizarre anatomy. Up close, she could see that the metallic implants were seamlessly integrated with its organic structure. "I've never seen anything like this," she murmured, reaching for her medkit. Martinez watched tensely as Chen began to examine the creature's injured leg. "Can you tell what's wrong with it?" Chen frowned, her fingers gently probing the damaged area. "It's hard to say. The leg seems to be a mix of organic tissue and some kind of advanced cybernetics. I think I can stabilize it, but..." Her voice trailed off as the alien suddenly stiffened. Its eyes widened, and a series of rapid clicks and chirps emerged from its throat. "What's it doing?" Reese asked, tightening his grip on his rifle. Before anyone could respond, a holographic display flickered to life above the creature's head. Streams of alien symbols flowed through the air, rearranging themselves rapidly. Martinez instinctively stepped back. "Is it trying to communicate?" The symbols continued to shift until, to the soldier's amazement, they formed into recognizable English words. "Quera. Nt in Tyon. Ho stalite way leave eel." The three humans exchanged stunned glances. Chen, recovering first, spoke clearly. "We intend to help. No hostility." The alien's eyes narrowed, and more text appeared. "Verification required. Previous encounters. Neegated." Martinez frowned. "Previous encounters? There haven't been any reported direct contacts with..." He trailed off as the implications sank in. If this creature had encountered humans before, and those encounters had been negative, it meant there was a lot more going on than they'd been told. Pushing aside his questions for the moment, Martinez addressed the alien directly. "We are not associated with any previous encounters you may have had. We found you injured and want to offer assistance. Will you allow us to help you?" There was a long pause as the creature seemed to process this. Finally, new text appeared. "Acceptable. Proceed with ocean. Designation. KRX. Crix," Chen repeated, a small smile forming on her lips. "Is that your name?" The alien, Crix, gave a short nod, then winced as the movement caused pain. "Okay, Crix," Chen said, returning to her examination. "I'm going to try to repair your leg. This might hurt a bit, but I'll do my best to be gentle." As Chen worked, using a combination of traditional first aid and some creative improvisation to deal with Crix's unique physiology, Martinez and Reese kept a watchful eye on their surroundings. The night was eerily quiet, as if the forest itself was holding its breath. "Sarge," Reese said in a low voice, "what are we going to do with it? I mean, with Crix. Once we've patched it up. We can't exactly take an alien dog back to base." Martinez rubbed his temples, feeling the beginnings of a headache. "One problem at a time, Corporal. For now, we..." He was cut off by a sudden burst of static from their radio. Through the interference, they could make out urgent voices. "Multiple bogies incoming. ETA 3 minutes. All units respond." Martinez's blood ran cold. Incoming. But how? His eyes fell on the crashed ship, where a small light was blinking steadily. "Damn it. It's been broadcasting our location this whole time." Crix's head snapped up, a series of agitated chirps emanating from its throat. The holographic display flashed urgently. "Danger. Concordate forces approaching. Flee immediately." "Concordat?" Chen asked, her hands still working on Crix's leg. "Is that your people?" Crix's response was chilling. "Negate. KRX. Weapon. Coming to ordiate. Creators. Humans. Targetes." The gravity of the situation hit them all at once. They weren't dealing with a lost alien pet. They were face to face with a living weapon, one that had apparently gone rogue. "We need to move now," Martinez ordered. "Chen, is it stable enough to transport?" Chen nodded, quickly packing up her supplies. "I think so, but we'll need to be careful." Martinez made a split-second decision that he knew could either save them or doom them all. "We're taking it with us. Crix," he addressed the alien directly, "we're getting you out of here. But you need to trust us. Can you do that? Crix regarded them solemnly, then projected a single word, AFFRMATIV. With surprising gentleness, Reese scooped up Crix in his arms. The alien was heavier than it looked, its metallic components adding significant weight. As they rushed back to their vehicle, the sky lit up with the telltale signs of incoming spacecraft. The air thrummed with energy, and the hair on the back of Martinez's neck stood on end. They piled into the Humvee, Chen cradling Crix in the backseat. Martinez gunned the engine, tires spinning in the soft earth before finding purchase. All units, fall back to Rendezvous Point Alpha, he barked into the radio. We have a package and company on the way. As they sped through the dark forest, alien ships screaming overhead, Martinez caught Crix's reflection in the rearview mirror. The creature's eyes glowed with a mix of fear and determination that mirrored his own. In that moment, Martinez realized that everything he thought he knew about the war, about the aliens, about his own place in the universe, was about to change. They were no longer just soldiers following orders. They were now the custodians of a secret that could reshape the course of human history. With a silent prayer to whatever higher power might be listening, Martinez pressed the accelerator to the floor. Their journey, and the real test of humanity's capacity for compassion in the face of the unknown, had only just begun. The journey. The Humvee tore through the forest, its occupants tense with the knowledge that both human and alien forces were converging on their location. Sergeant Martinez gripped the steering wheel tightly, his eyes darting between the rough terrain ahead and the rearview mirror, watching for signs of pursuit. In the backseat, Private Chen monitored Crix's condition, her medic training kicking in despite the alien nature of her patient. "How are you holding up?" she asked softly. Crix's holographic display flickered to life. "Silhouette stems. Stabilizing. Gratitude. Ich experience." Chen couldn't help but smile. "You're welcome. Though I have to admit, I never thought I'd be patching up an alien dog in the middle of a war zone." CLARFICHHIDO. KRX, not dog. KRX. Bioengineered Sciential. This caught Martinez's attention. Sentinel? What exactly does that mean? Before Crix could respond, Corporal Reese called out from the passenger seat, "Sarge, we've got company." 2 o'clock high. A sleek, dart-like ship screamed overhead, bathing the forest in an eerie blue light. Martinez swore under his breath and swerved off the main road, plunging deeper into the underbrush. "We can't outrun them forever," Reese said, his voice tight with tension. "What's the plan?" Martinez's mind raced. They couldn't return to base, not with an alien in tow and enemy forces on their tail. They needed somewhere to lay low, to figure out their next move. "There's an old ranger station about 10 clicks north," he said finally. "We'll hole up there and try to make contact with command." As they pushed deeper into the wilderness, Crix began to project a steady stream of information. "PURSUERS. Concordat Retrieval Team. OBGEC Reclaim ASSET. KRIX. Danger Leveal. Extreme." "Why are they so desperate to get you back?" Chen asked. Crix's response was chilling. "KRIX. Prototype. Posies strategici information. Counterordate fears compromise." The implication sank in. They weren't just dealing with a stray alien. They had stumbled upon a potential game-changer in the ongoing conflict. Hours passed as they navigated the treacherous terrain, always staying one step ahead of their pursuers. The humans took turns resting, eating, and keeping watch, while Crix remained vigilant, its enhanced senses proving invaluable in detecting approaching threats. During quieter moments, they learned more about their alien companion. Crix had been created as part of a covert program to infiltrate and gather intelligence on potential enemy species. But something had gone wrong during its mission to Earth. Whether due to a malfunction or an awakening conscience, Crix had begun to question its purpose and the motives of its creators. As dawn broke, they finally reached the abandoned ranger station. It was little more than a dilapidated cabin, but it offered shelter and a chance to regroup. While Reese set up a perimeter and Chen tended to Crix's injuries, Martinez attempted to establish a secure communication line with command. After several tense minutes, a familiar voice crackled through the static. "Martinez, what the hell is going on out there?" Colonel Hawkins demanded. Martinez took a deep breath and began to explain the situation. As he spoke, he could almost feel the weight of history settling on his shoulders. He knew that his next words could determine the course of the war and possibly the fate of humanity. Part 4. The Revelation. Colonel Hawkins listened in stunned silence as Martinez recounted the events of the past 12 hours. When he finished, the line went dead for so long that he feared they'd lost the connection. Finally, Hawkins spoke, her voice grave. "Martinez, do you realize what you've done? The risks you've taken?" "Yes, ma'am," he replied, standing straighter despite his exhaustion. "But I also realize the opportunity we have here. Crix isn't just a weapon. It's a sentient being with crucial information about our enemy." There was another long pause before Hawkins continued. "Your orders are to sit tight. I'm dispatching a specialized extraction team. They'll be there in 6 hours. As Martinez relayed the information to his team, he couldn't shake the feeling that they were missing something crucial. Crix, sensing the tension, projected a message. QUERY. Humans intend cooperation or exploitation. The question hung in the air, forcing them all to confront the ethical implications of their situation. They had shown compassion to Crix, but what would happen when the higher-ups got involved? Would Crix be treated as an ally or as a piece of technology to be studied and reverse-engineered? As they grappled with these questions, the cabin was suddenly rocked by an explosion. The Concordat forces had found them. "Get down," Martinez yelled as energy weapons fire tore through the walls. In the chaos that followed, humans and alien found themselves fighting side by side. Crix's combat protocols activated, its body moving with fluid grace as it incapacitated enemy soldiers with precision strikes and electromagnetic pulses. As the battle raged, something unexpected happened. In the heat of combat, the mental barriers between Crix and the humans began to break down. Flashes of memory and emotion passed between them. Crix's experiences of creation and training, the humans' hopes and fears for their planet's future. In that moment of connection, a shared realization dawned. The key to ending the war lay not in victory over the other, but in understanding and cooperation. With renewed determination, they fought their way out of the cabin and into the surrounding forest. As they ran, Martinez made a decision that would change everything. "New plan," he panted. "We're not waiting for extraction. We're going to end this war ourselves." The resolution. The next few hours were a blur of tense planning and preparations. Using Crix's knowledge of Concordat protocols and the humans' understanding of their own military, they formulated a daring plan to bring both sides to the negotiating table. Crix sent out a coded signal, one that would draw high-ranking officials from both human and Concordat forces to a neutral location. It was a gamble, but it was their best chance at brokering peace. As the appointed time drew near, Martinez, Chen, and Reese stood beside Crix on a hilltop overlooking a vast meadow. In the distance, they could see ships and vehicles approaching from both sides. "Are you sure about this?" Chen asked, her hand resting gently on Crix's back. The alien's response was firm. "AFFIRMATIE. Comb and Flight to BCD on MISUNDERSTANDING. Resolution possible through communication." As the opposing forces arrived, tension filled the air. Weapons were raised, fingers hovering over triggers. But before hostilities could break out, Crix stepped forward, projecting its message for all to see. "ATT into Ion. Concordat and humans. Conflict unnecessary. Common ground exists. What followed was a tense but productive dialogue. Crix acted as a translator and mediator, bridging the gap between the two species. The humans shared their fears of invasion and their determination to protect their world. The Concordat representatives explained their mission of galactic stability and their misinterpretation of human intentions. As understanding grew, weapons were lowered. The realization that both sides had been operating under false assumptions and fear of the unknown began to sink in. Martinez, finding himself in the unlikely role of diplomat, spoke from the heart. We've seen that compassion and cooperation are possible, even between species as different as ours. Maybe it's time we stopped focusing on our differences and started exploring what we could achieve together. His words, combined with Crix's impassioned plea for peace, struck a chord with both humans and aliens alike. In that meadow, surrounded by the beauty of Earth's nature, the first steps towards a lasting peace were taken. In the days and weeks that followed, formal negotiations began. Crix, once a weapon of war, became a symbol of unity and a key figure in fostering understanding between humans and the galactic Concordat. The road ahead would not be easy. There were those on both sides who resisted change, clinging to old fears and prejudices. But the seeds of cooperation had been planted, nurtured by the unlikely friendship between three human soldiers and an alien being they had once considered an enemy. As Martinez watched Crix interacting with a group of human and alien children, teaching them games from across the galaxy, he reflected on how far they had come. The war that had seemed inevitable was now a fading memory, replaced by a future filled with possibilities. Crix caught his eye and projected a message. Gratitude eternal. Humans providc ompas. Ion to RANC in these species. Martinez smiled, feeling a sense of pride not just in humanity, but in the universal capacity for understanding and growth. We all proved that, he replied. Together. As the sun set on a planet no longer at war, the stars above seemed to shine a little brighter. Humanity had taken its first steps into a larger universe, guided by the simple yet powerful act of showing compassion to a stranded alien dog. The journey ahead was vast and unknown, but they would face it not as separate species, but as fellow travelers in the great cosmic adventure.